Okay, for those of you who are still here for the art book or picture book stuff, I'm just putting the video, or those of you who are interested in the next part, I am putting the thing in Spanish. I'm not picking a specific Spanish since I have no idea which Spanish it specifically is in. I might go back and edit it, but was able to put Spanish subtitles in, or captions in. So I'm going to start by rereading the first part and then reading a note of translation at the bottom of that last page I was doing. And while I'm waiting for the first part to finish uploading. Everything's all set up, I just gotta upload it. Or let it finish its uploading. So I'm just gonna read this, I'm not gonna be holding it up or anything. And this is again from Monica Brown. I wrote this book because, like more than 6 million Americans, I'm multiracial. And I forgot, I gotta plug you in. I am the daughter of a South American mother and a North American father. My childhood was spent in close community with my cousins, tios, and tias. Like Marisol McDonald, my cousins and I are mixed, indigenous, Peruvian, and Spanish, mixed with Scottish and Italian and Jewish, not to mention Nicaraguan, Mexican, Chilean, and African. One thing most of us do share are freckles. I'm just waiting for my door to open, sorry. According to one of my tios, which means uncle, I believe. Tio is uncle, tia's aunt, for those of you who do not know. My family freckles came from the time my abuelita, or grandmother, was stirring a big pan of chocolate on the stove. My tio reached for it and it splattered everywhere, leaving chocolate sprinkles on everyone's face and toes, or faces and toes. That's gotta be hot and painful. Sometimes people ask us, what are you? And sometimes even say that we don't match. But we know better. Our mothers told us that we are Americans, yes, but also citizens of the world. My life, and I'll bet yours too, is bound up with the history of many peoples like Marisol McDonald. Sorry, my dad sneezed. I opened my arms wide and embraced them all. Monica Brown. Now depending on if this works with the captions, if it doesn't come out the way it's supposed to be read in the book, like I said, they use Spanish. That's because I picked the wrong Spanish. I'm just picking in general, so I'm hoping it works. A note on the translation. The title of this book presented a dilemma. How to translate the phrase Marisol McDonald doesn't match into Spanish. Even in English, a person can't not match. Only two things, colors or qualities, can't match. In Spanish, there are many different verbs that mean to match, but they present the same problem that they do in English. They sound a little funny applied to a person instead of to objects. Ultimately, we decided that the Spanish verb that most closely matched the sense of the English was cabinar. It sounds French to me. I don't know why. Sorry, that was my alarm for that class started in half an hour. We think Marisol herself would approve. The editor. So that was from the book, and so like I said, I'm hoping that everything, and I might pause this to finish any details and make sure I attach the video to the thread. So this book is a excellent picture book. It's more picture than, and it is a picture book because there's more picture than text. But the thing is, there is two languages of text, so people might not think that it is, and it's just an illustrated book. when it actually isn't. It just has two languages of text. You could cut out one and it'd still be, look like it's small enough to amount, which actually goes into my evaluation. Like I said, this might be just a little more detailed than the initial version, what I typed, but I'm gonna start out with my impressions. So when I was picking my books before the semester even started, I was looking at the titles and everything, and then for the picture books, because I didn't recognize any of the titles, I went into either Goodreads, Amazon, whatever, to see about a summary, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get them through the library. And I just from the title, it's like not really many of them connected, and this one did, but I wanted to still see, because sometimes I've gotten the wrong impression from a book, like where I preferred one over the other once I read the summary. You can't judge a book by its title. Okay, I'm going to pause this for 2 seconds so I can make sure everything's... Okay, now it's done uploading. Now we're just waiting on the processing, so that's going to be fun. Usually that's what takes forever. Sorry. Once I read all the summaries, this book I knew was the right one, and I didn't have a second or a third choice. I was determined to find this book, and luckily enough the library worked. But I do have a YouTube read of this, and I'm wondering if they actually do it in Spanish, because I didn't actually listen to it yet. So if it does have it in Spanish, I might link that into the description of the first video once I do get that. It's done being uploaded, and this is uploaded. So if they do both languages, then that way mine's captioned, but you also have another option. The pictures in this book, the illustrations were amazing. I found it really unique that it almost was childlike, whereas like almost like a scrapbook or sketchbook, because some of the buildings are hand-drawn, look like they're hand-drawn. Like in the first page, it all looks like it's like a child's drawing. Whereas there was other parts, and this is the biggest thing I noticed, and I'm just going to go to the piece that kind of showed me it. The puppies' patches, I know you can't see it, but it looks like newspaper. So when I was doing that, I was going back and it's like, wait a minute. And there's this teacher's skirt, there's a soccer ball. It's all like, it's even also, I think, Spanish newspapers, just looking at the soccer ball's text. And I thought that was really unique. I thought it was kind of clever. It's like, it's her story. Whereas the people in it are greatly illustrated, but everything else is almost childlike, to the point of where it's almost her telling the story complete in her own way, which I thought was kind of neat. It was a mix of scrapbook meets illustration. The biggest element I noticed was the bilingual. I didn't even really realize even the beginning. I just thought maybe it was for Spanish readers, the title. I didn't realize that it was going to be a bilingual book, and I just thought that was amazing. And I wish I could speak in Spanish so I could properly read this, because, like I said in the last video, because I feel like it would be so much better to have. I think it would be better to have someone who could read both texts. Like if you are doing this for like a library read or something like that, I think that would be so much more impactful. With the stories, plots, and everything, I feel like it's one of those typical stories that's like someone, and I like calling it quirk, and I quirk about someone that's disgruntled. I would say disgruntled or frowned upon by others, is questioned by the person who has the said quirk, and then they try to be normal, and then they eventually realize that they're better off being themselves. Kind of story, and those are a lot more common nowadays, now that we're trying to be acceptance to differences and diverse to other people's belief systems, their culture, and etc. So this makes an excellent book. It's understandable to read not just by reading or being read to, but also if you just look at the pictures, you can see that, you can definitely see, without even having the pictures or the text, what is going on in the story, except for maybe the puppy part until you get towards the end. It is a good book. I will recommend it to anybody. It definitely broadens your perspective on how people are. When I was a kid, I liked to play librarian and zookeeper, where I used my old VHSs as like the borders of the thing, or I would stack my books and use my old stuffed animals as customers, or the Beanie Babies as my mom collected Beanie Babies. It's like so, and it's like I couldn't sit on one thing where I moved from one thing to the next, so I was always doing something. I don't know if I ever mismatched anything like with activities, but when I was a kid, I'd have to ask my mom that. But it is a great read. I can't keep not keep saying that. And I'm hoping that this inspires people to go and read this, maybe create their, if they have a slight part of their life that they think, hey, this would make a great this little story could make a great children's story, I would recommend it immensely. Like, I can only imagine, actually, if anyone read the Peanuts, I had a little bit of that part of my life, but it's the scene where, in the Thanksgiving special, where Lucy pulls away the football. It wasn't the football, but the way he flew up. I kind of dramatized it, but I slipped on some ice trying to catch the bus, and it felt, when I still can remember it, it almost felt like how high he went, even though it wasn't. And it's like I just always associated with that, and it's like you can always make a story out of something. So this is Alex signing off. Click like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. This one does have comments, so comment down below if you have read this story and what you think of it, or classmates if you want to use this also as your commenting thing like we have to do for the discussion board, or if you have another story that you think is similar story plot line that you think is a great and excellent book for children to read, just comment the title and author.